Hey everyone, this is Charlie the Plug, your host of the Detroit Metro Plug podcast, powered by Empower You Ventures. Don't forget to subscribe so you too can be a part of the biggest empowerment network on YouTube and Facebook. We bring you weekly interviews of Detroit difference makers in the area of entrepreneurship, community involvement, also reaction to business news and community news. This does not happen without your support. Thank you. All right, welcome to another episode of the Detroit Metro Plug podcast. I'm Charles McKay, aka Charlie the Plug, where connections matter. Each week, we bring you interviews of Detroit difference makers in the area of entrepreneurship, community involvement, and we bring you another guest this week who is definitely a difference maker, making great impact in the community through their organization called Life Remodeled. But I just want to thank everyone who's joining us live on Facebook, LinkedIn, as well as YouTube. If you join us live, please like, share, subscribe if you're finding value in what we're doing. We want to bring positive, uplifting content, sharing stories of how people are making positive contributions here in our city. So happy Monday to everyone. It looks like spring is here in Detroit. We're coming to you live from Detroit in my home studio. We got some, it looks like it's trending. You know how Michigan weather can be. It could be warm one day and cold the next, but it looks like we finally, spring is here, seeing the trees budding and the green leaves coming out. And so I'm excited about that. So thank you for those who are joining us live and who will watch the replay. If you have a question or comment, I try to recognize our live viewers for our guests in our topic. Please chime in. All right, so just happy third Monday to everyone again. And so I'm excited about our topic today. We're going to be talking about we're going to be focusing on just a model to have an impact in our community. If you haven't heard of an organization called Life Remodeled, they take abandoned schools and transform them into opportunity hubs. So we're going to talk a little bit more about that. So before I introduce our guests, I'm going to share a quick video that kind of highlights a little bit about what they do. Then I'll introduce our guests and we'll get right into the conversation. This video was a story done by CBS, and you can see this on their website. Okay, so let me share that now.
Public schools have closed in recent years, often due to low enrollment, leading to abandoned buildings. But one Detroit nonprofit is helping underserved communities repurpose closed schools. And it could be a model for other areas. Meg Oliver shows us how the program is changing neighborhoods and lives.
Nationwide, urban schools have lost around 850,000 students since 2019. School closures often hit underserved communities the hardest. Here in Detroit, they've closed around 200 schools in the last few decades. What was the reaction like when the elementary school closed?
The reaction was not good, as you would expect. We're in Detroit, and a lot of people were upset.
Detroit native Brandy Hagans works for the nonprofit Life Remodeled. In 2017, when low enrollment forced Durfee Elementary School to merge with the high school, her team moved in to renovate the abandoned building.
It's not just community history, it's personal history for a lot of people, and it's hurtful. And so what better way to work with the community than to reopen their school building into something that still belongs to them?
Then they refurbished the building, calling it the Durfee Innovation Society, and filling it with free resources from job placement for adults to youth programs for students like Kayvon.
Now that everybody started going to the DIS, it's more kind of like calm after school.
His grandma, Deborah Nobles, calls the DIS a godsend for the neighborhood.
My grandson has excelled in school. He's in every kind of program they have. He knows how to play chess. He can play golf. He can play tennis. He's a robotics person.
Knowing that this has worked here, could this be a nationwide model for other schools that have closed across the country?
This should be a nationwide model for other schools that have closed across the country. I think taking a school building or any historical building that means something to a community and repurposing it into something that's for the community, that's huge and necessary.
Life Remodeled is now renovating another former school in Detroit and is designing a playbook to help other organizations across the country do the same.
What do you want to tell the people who created the DIS?
I would just want to thank them, because a lot of the stuff that I'm doing now wouldn't be possible without going to the DIS.
How does your future look now?
My future looks very bright, very bright.
For CBS Mornings, Meg Oliver, Detroit.
All right, so that's a video clip of what Life Remodel is doing, turning vacant schools into opportunity hubs. And that was a great story showing the young man how he was impacted by their work, after school programs, opportunities to just expand his mind and develop skills. And I'm pretty sure there's more stories that our guests can talk about. And so I'm excited about this Detroit difference maker. I'm going to add him to the stage and do a formal introduction. All right. So, ladies and gentlemen, our next guest for episode 152 is a native Detroiter, the official president and CEO, chief executive officer of Life Remodeled. He understands the challenges and opportunities that the city possesses. With deep roots in the community, he recognized the importance of revitalization, and it's on a mission to transform the city into thriving communities, one neighborhood at a time. Our next guest has 20 years of experience in coordinating and planning and implementing projects through completion that translates into enhanced customer satisfaction. He is a graduate of Cass Tech University. I mean, Cass Tech High School. Shout out to Cass Tech High School.
Okay.
He has a bachelor's from Wilberforce University in Ohio, Master's of Divinity from Southern Methodist University in Dallas, Texas. Financial expertise led him to a career at ExxonMobil. Okay, that's interesting. As president CEO, our next guest of Life Remodeled sees the day-to-day operations that focus on fiscal health and responsibilities of growing communities and organizations that they serve. Ladies and gentlemen, let's welcome our next guest, Diallo Smith. I pronounced that right?
Close. Diallo
Smith. Smith. There we go. All right. Gotta give you some air horns here.
Oh, thank you. Thank you, Charlie. And thank you
Diallo,
to the whole Detroit Metro Plug podcast audience. It's a great day to be in Detroit.
Yes. And congratulations to the official CEO of this great organization. All right. So I want to give people the backstory for those who don't know you. This may be their first time getting to know you, watching this video. So just give us the backstory. And I always like to start off with our guests. Okay. If someone's asked who is Diallo, what would you tell them?
Oh man, that's a great question. I will start by saying, hey, I'm just a kid from the east side of Detroit who had loving parents that nurtured me, allowed for me to grow my wings and expand and fly. And that ended up going first to Wilberforce, Ohio, to pursue my undergrad in finance, and then landed me in Texas, in Houston, Texas, as I started my career after undergrad in the energy sector, and worked in the corporate finance arena for several years. And my wife, my girlfriend, that then became wife, who was also a Detroit native, we started our life together down in Houston, Texas. Kids were born there, but just really had this deep commitment and deep reverence and deep gratitude to the city of Detroit. And we knew that although the corporate life was great, it was very comfortable, and all the things and trappings that come with that we were supposed to be doing more, and particularly more for the place that we call home, which is Detroit. And so we moved back now almost 17 years ago in 2008, when the city was going through some financial challenges. The nation was going through some financial challenges, but they say when the rest of the nation gets a cold, Detroit gets a flu. And so came back during that time, not knowing fully what the future held, but just knowing that we wanted to be involved with helping to be a part of a better future for the city of Detroit. And that's taken us to different arenas and different opportunities. And so now I serve currently as the president and CEO of Life Remodeled, which is a Detroit-based nonprofit. We have campuses in two different neighborhoods, one on the west side of Detroit near Central High School, the old Durfee Middle School that was repurposed to the Durfee Innovation Society back in 2017. And I'm sure we'll talk a lot about that. And then we also currently have another campus right now under construction on the east side, which is where I'm from, the old Dominican High School, which was an all-girls Catholic school. And then that school transformed into the Winans Academy of Performing Arts. And it then closed, and we acquired that building in 2023. So altogether, we're wanting to just see how we can make a dramatic impact on helping to revitalize Detroit neighborhoods, because we believe that the future of Detroit is inextricably linked to the future of Detroit neighborhoods. And as the future of Detroit neighborhood goes, so goes the Detroit region, and dare I say, even the state.
Wow, that was a great summary of a backstory about your life. Man, I almost thought you was want to announce you're running for mayor.
No, we have some incredible candidates, and the mayoral race is already underway. And I'm optimistic about what the outcome of that is going to be. We don't know yet, but I think that we have some very viable candidates, all of whom are either here or have some connection here. So, looking forward to seeing what November will turn out to.
Yes. What I found interesting in reading your bio, and just the kind of the background. So, native Detroiter, of course, you went to Cass, but at some point you went to divinity school. So, is there a background of faith or religious service?
That's a great question. You know, when I think about my story, I mean, it truly is it's a story of grace upon grace. You know, growing up as a little knucklehead boy, made a lot of mistakes along the way, just trying to find out who you are. I grew up in the 80s and the 90s in Detroit, which was a challenging time, right? Detroit was dealing with a lot then, a lot of social challenges, financial challenges. And as a young man growing up through that, you try to figure out your life and what's important and who you are in the world and all those things. But when I started my career in Texas, you know, at that time, I was just focused on what a lot of young people are focused on. You know, you make it from the neighborhood, you got a good job, you're making money, and so you're just trying to go that route. But I had a moment in which I felt that God was calling me to do something different, and it quite frankly was not a part of what I considered for my future. My future was supposed to be as a chief financial officer for some Fortune 500 company and living a big life and doing all that. But what I realized was that the role that I'm supposed to play in this world is more connected to people who are dealing with just the daily challenges of life and figuring out how I can serve them and also serve the organizations that serve them. We have some incredible nonprofits in this region and in this world, and I want for all of us to be able to have big impact. And so me going to divinity school was a way for me to learn more about what my calling was. Obviously, that includes, I'll say unabashedly, that includes the Christian faith, a Christian walk. And I started when we moved back here in Detroit in 2008. A big part of that was ministry. You know, my wife and I started a ministry here in the city, and have the opportunity to meet and talk to incredible people, all of whom I call friends, colleagues, and parishioners to this day. But what I'm doing now, I also consider to be ministry. Right? It's not ministry that's within the context of the church building, but it's ministry that's deeply connected and deeply focused on real life people in the city of Detroit who are all trying to find their way to how to have a better household, a better child, a better job, a better future, a better educational opportunity. And so that's what I consider to be my ministry now. Yes.
I like that. Yes, that deserves some applause.
Charlie, you have all the trinkets over there.
Yes, I do. Man, I really liked your path because you know, and growing up from Detroit, you know, we're encouraged, you know, stay out of trouble, go to school,
Yeah.
get a good job, and get out of here. Basically, is basically kind of the indirect message. But I like the fact that you came to a point where you listened to your spiritual calling, and you instead of running from that, you kind of leaned in and went on a path and answered that call and became open to how God can use you in your Christian faith. And what's interesting is, you know, sometimes people think, well, if you're called to do something, it has to be, you know, the standard pastoral call and preaching at a church and lead a congregation. But there's other ways where you can do ministry and serve other people, whether it's in the corporate or in nonprofit work or community service or being a layperson at a local congregation. And I like the fact that that you followed that path. And I'm sure that the skills you learned while you were in corporate and in school and as well as divinity, you use those skills in your current position with Life Remodel.
Yeah, you know, it's interesting. I think all that is true, at least for me. When I started my career in the corporate environment, I always knew and felt that how I defined my personhood was I'm not just a part of corporate culture, but I'm corporate for the culture.
Okay.
Right. And so all of my experiences that I learned there when I left, it was more about, okay, how can I utilize all the different experiences, all the knowledge bases, all the things that I was able to be involved in to be able to help other people in other organizations with those skill sets. So when I initially left, you know, my first probably most gratifying experience was working with smaller nonprofits, smaller churches, and smaller businesses, and helping them to increase their administrative and organizational capacity, because if I felt like that was my responsibility as someone who had a chance to learn those things at a high level, to be able to allow for other organizations and other people who may not have had those experiences to be apprised of that. You know, we don't know what we don't know, right? And I think that all of us have a calling. That calling may not be from pulpit or preaching. It could simply be being a great neighbor. It could simply be being a great parent.
Yes,
it could be volunteering at your local church or local nonprofit.
Right.
But I believe that that Detroit really right now is at a very unique inflection point. You know, I was thinking about Tommy Walker, who started the brand Detroit versus Everybody in 2012, and I get it. You know, Detroit was an easy target. People talked about us. You know, relegated us to be in nothing. You know, they'll never amount to anything. And so that created a sense of hardness, right? So it was like, man, Detroit versus everybody. Whoever has anything bad to say about Detroit, then we got something for you. But I think, Charlie, that the new development, a new chapter of our city and our neighborhoods is not a Detroit versus everybody, but a Detroit with everybody, right?
With everybody. Okay.
How can we get and that includes some of our suburban peers too. How can we get everybody connected and committed to this great future that we have for our city? And how can we use our Detroit neighborhoods as being ground zero for what that future can be?
Yes, I agree with you, and I'm excited about me seeing. You know, I'm from this city, recently relocated back in the core city down in Midtown, and just seeing all the development and excitement. I think there's a lot of upside and a lot of potential. And this kind of segues to, I'm curious. I know that Life Remodeled was founded by brother Chris Lanford.
Yes.
And so how did you guys connect, and how did you get involved with that?
Oh, man, that's a great question. So number one, Chris is I consider him to be a brother from another mother. He's just a little melanin challenged.
Right.
As one of my Caucasian brothers are. But and we actually met in 2009. So when we were moving back here, he was moving to here from LA, and we both were connected in ministry at the time. And we happened to see each other at a conference. Now, for those who know Chris, you know, he's been very consistent with his hair, right? So he has blonde, spike tipped hair. Well, what some may not know is at that time, I had locks going all the way down to all the way down the back. And so we were at this ministry conference, and we both looked at each other like, okay, he looked kind of cool.
Right.
He was kind of cool. So we kind of dapped each other up, and we maintained a good friendship ever since. But
Okay.
in 2021, this was, kind of during the pandemic. The pandemic was lightening up a little bit, and he was looking for someone to be a partner with him as the chief operating officer at Life Remodeled. And he knew about my back. We had been friends for years. He knew about my corporate background, but he also knew about my love and passion for the city. And he thought that it might be a good fit. We had coffee. We talked about it, and I joined the team. And it was really easy for me. And this maybe translates as to what Life Remodeled does. It was easy for me because Life Remodel's why and my why are the same. My why has always been about the city of Detroit and the residents in it, and Life Remodel's is the same, right? Our mission is really simple at Life Remodeled. We believe that all Detroiters have the talent that they need, but many don't have access to the opportunities that they deserve.
Right.
And so this model of repurposing vacant school buildings and then finding the best social impact organizations and nonprofit organizations to be partners under one umbrella, under one roof, is our way of saying, listen, big problems take big solutions. And it's not just going to take one organization. It's going to take a collection of us to all work together under one roof. And that way you're able to see that needle move. You're able to see the educational outcomes, the needle move more. You're able to see the economic outcomes. You're able to see that needle move more. One of the things that we were really honored by, two things. One, last year, former chief of police, James White, called us and he said, hey, I don't know if you guys know this, but your precinct, your neighborhood now has the lowest crime rates in the city of Detroit.
Wow.
And he said that, in 2017, when we first acquired that school building and repurposed it into the Durfee Innovation Society, it has some of the highest. And I think what that just shows is that when people have access to opportunities, that solves a lot of challenges.
Yes, it does.
Right. The second thing was we had no idea that this was happening, but the Gallup Group, they had a survey that they were conducting citywide in conjunction with the Detroit Regional Chamber, and they were asking Detroiters their perception of thriving in their neighborhood. In other words, do they feel that their neighborhood is one where they can thrive at, right? Educationally, economically, health-wise, et cetera, et cetera. And we had no idea that this was going on. And they posted the results. And it said that Durfee, the neighborhood that we're in, had the second highest level of perception of thriving, more so than any other neighborhood in the city, with the first being Indian Village.
Right.
That makes sense. Indian Village has some influence. And when they tried to figure out why did this community rank so high in that perception of thriving meter, what they deducted was that the work that we're doing with the Durfee Innovation Society at that Opportunity Hub is having a big impact on how the residents see their future in that neighborhood. And so both of those are really, we're grateful for that. And it's just a testament to really the will and the fortitude and the hope of the people in the Durfee neighborhood.
Wow, that is awesome. That is awesome. We want to celebrate the work you guys have been doing with Life Remodeled and just transforming the neighborhood. So it sounds like that when you and Chris connected, you guys bonded as brothers, and then over time, the mission, your life mission, evolved with you and your family when you came back to the city of Detroit, and it was good alignment, perfect alignment almost to join in on Life Remodeled. So what is your current role in the organization? I know we talked in the intro. But what specifically do you do, and what's next for Life Remodeled?
It's a great question. So as of today, Charlie, I am this is my first official day as president and chief executive officer of Life Remodeled.
All right.
Prior to this point, I was chief operating officer, and it's really just it's a pleasure and a privilege. We have a great team of people who are very passionate about the work that they do for the city and for our neighborhoods. And so I'm honored to have a chance to be able to play my part in leading them and leading the organization. As far as what's next, and that's a great question. A lot of people, they say, well, you guys have 2 opportunity hubs now. Is the next one going to be on, the Southwest side, or where's the next one going to be at? And, honestly, I think, we'll see what future holds for expanding to another opportunity hub. I do know this: we are actively working with other municipalities and other organizations in other cities to introduce to them a model for sustainable and equitable revitalization through repurposing of vacant structure in those cities. And so we'll be doing some consultation work on that. But as far as the city of Detroit goes, I think the biggest opportunity that Life Remodeled has is to go even deeper in community impact.
Okay.
And what that means for us is, now that we're located on, we'll be located on 2 different sides of the city. Our data analyst was doing some figures. He said, once both opportunity hubs are open and active, we'll be serving over 45,000 Detroiters a year, which is about 7% of Detroit's population. I was like, wow.
You said 44,000?
45,000.
Oh, 45,000. Wow.
45,000. Yeah. 25,000 at the Durfee Innovation Society and
Right.
20,000 at Anchor Detroit, which is the East Side campus. But I think that, now that we know the sizable impact in terms of numerically, now it's really time for us to focus on how do we translate all of this impact into measurable goals. So we see the future of the neighborhoods that we serve in being ones in which we want to help transition from low to moderate income neighborhoods to middle class neighborhoods.
Right.
I think as we think about what the future of Detroit can be, the more neighborhoods we're able to help people shift up that ladder, up that social mobility ladder to places where they have great livable wage paying jobs, where their sons and daughters are excelling in school and on the way to a college education, when we can find ways to increase the life expectancy in the city of Detroit. Listen, health is wealth.
Right.
And I don't care how much money you make. You're only limiting the power that you can have if your life expectancy is shorter, right? So we want to do what we can to be able to help Detroiters live healthy lives. And then I think the fourth, which I think is really, really important, Charlie, is thinking through how our neighborhoods can be more technologically inclined.
Right.
They call it the digital divide, and I'm telling you, as someone who is committed to our neighborhoods being sustainable, the digital divide is real. There was a recent statistic by McKinsey, and they analyzed this wealth gap in just in the technology industry alone. And what they said was Black households stand to lose over $300 billion in wages disparity by 2045, right? So it's in 2035. So in other words, if we're not able to create systems and mechanisms and introduce our neighborhoods to how to utilize technology and also to pursue jobs in which they're utilizing technology, we're leaving money on the table.
Right.
And that money is money on the table that we cannot afford to leave. And so we've designed programs that, starting with the 6th grade, we're helping to educate, and immerse young people into the field of technology, so that by the time they graduate from high school, they will engage in an undergraduate study in a technology related field. And then we're working with employers to be able to bring them on right here in Detroit or in the Detroit metro region, because we want to keep our young people here, right? We don't want for our great talent to leave the city. We want for our great talent to stay in the city. And that for me is I think a way to revitalize neighborhoods holistically. So education, economic mobility, health and wellness, and technological enhancements.
Wow, man. Considering what's next, those are great initiatives, and I wish you guys great success in those endeavors, and definitely needed. And that will be an awesome impact, servicing those people on the west side and the east side, those young families, young people, as well as young adults and citizens of Detroit. That is awesome. I'm curious, what were some of the challenges to getting these vacant spaces and sharing the vision with the local government as well as residents?
Yeah, that's a great question, and I'll just hit it in a thumbnail. Listen, this work is not easy, right? Humanity is beautiful, but we all have scars, and I think some of the scars for Detroiters is that we've been, for some of us, we've been told that this was going to happen and that's going to happen, and then it translates, right? Or people come in and they may say something, this development is for the community, but it ends up being for a different community. And so, there's a lot of trepidation and quite frankly, deserved trepidation from when somebody says, hey, listen, we want to, do work in your community. And so what we've learned just through experience is that there's three ways of approaching community members and also city and local governments. One is you say, okay, well, we want to do something, to the city. It ain't gonna fly, right? Because that feels like something's being imposed upon you, right?
Right.
Detroiters, we've dealt with being imposed upon for too long, so we're going to be resistant towards that. The second is, we want to do something for you, and I think that can have great intentions, but what doesn't happen in that arena is you're not really allowing for the community itself and the local government itself to be involved in that perceived project or that perceived future. I think what we landed on is the best way to approach building relationships with community members, stakeholders, faith leaders, teachers, administrators, the Mrs. Jones who's been living in that neighborhood for 50 years and who knows that neighborhood backwards and forwards, is to do it with. Okay. Don't do it to, don't do it for, do it with. And what that looks like for us is before we even touch a building, the first thing that we ask the community is, hey, is this something that you even want?
Right. I like that.
We don't want to presume anything. Is this something that you even want? Right now, I think in our situation, the answer is yes, because the counter to that is that there's a dilapidated building that's in your neighborhood that's just eroding and causing all type of blight and causing property values to go down. But then we ask, if the answer is yes, say, okay, well, what are the core needs that you see or that you think is valuable in your community to close the opportunity gaps? And then based upon that feedback, then we find partnering organizations that match the direct need of what community members say, bring them into that building together. So now it's not a situation where somebody's doing something to or for. We're working with. This is a us. This is an us enterprise. This is a us project. So
I like that.
So that's what's been successful for us through trial and error. And we believe wholeheartedly that doing with is more impactful and more meaningful in the long run than doing it any other way.
Well, I like that, man, that model, because, being a native Detroiter, living here pretty much all my life, there's been various promises and programs. And a lot of times people are planning things and they're in the C-suite and they're not engaged in the community. They didn't even ask the community if they want this.
Yep.
And it may be good intentions. It may come from a good place. Like, hey, I want to do this for you.
Sure.
But I like the fact that you guys had good intentions, but also respected the community stakeholders and engaged the elders in the community, the local government, as well as the local citizens. And you guys worked in tandem, hand to hand. And I think you guys deserve some applause for that work. And I think that's a model.
Well, thank you. And I'll just add another layer to that. People ask, well, why school buildings? Why not any? There's a lot of dilapidated structure around the city of Detroit. You have some that's in an industrial area, but the reason why we chose to have school buildings as a starting point is, you know this, Charles. We have an affection and an affinity and a relationship with our schools. We went there. We had great memories there. We've some of our family members have gone there and maybe for generations. And so when that school building closes, it almost sends a message or a dagger to the heart of the community that their community is not as important as what it once was. And so when we think about revitalizing the neighborhood, we think that revitalizing the hope in the heart of the neighborhood is the first step. So that's one. The second is that the schools are embedded right there in the community. I mean, a lot of times when you think about providing services and resources for people, that might be great by design. But if people don't have direct access and proximity to receive them, then it's like having a full pantry, but nobody can come get it, right? And so we wanted to make sure that we eliminated the proximity issue by having it to be right in people's neighborhoods. And then the third is that it makes it something where the community can be very, very proud of, for it to be something that they can say, this is us. This was our school. And while it might not be a school anymore, it's still a place of social, academic, and economic mobility, right? So they can still be proud of the activity that's happening in that building, albeit it might not be in the form of a classroom.
Yes, that's awesome. And I have to say, I've been to various programs and events at the Durfee Innovation Society, and I want to say that's a really great third place in the community, a place of hope, opportunity, and just where people can bond and also cast their dreams and vision and be inspired. So, man, that's awesome work. I want to recognize we got some of our listeners' comments. Oh, yeah. Shout out to the business loan queen. She said, so many schools in our communities have been vacant since I was a little girl. I'm happy something is being done. All right. So, yeah, thank you for watching our show and supporting independent media. And I just want to encourage people who are watching, please like, share, subscribe if you're finding value in what we're doing. What I want to do now is we're going to transition to see how we as a community, those who are watching this video and the replay, how we can be of support and help to the work you're doing. And then you can highlight some of the programs. So we're going to take a quick break, I call it a little commercial announcement. We're going to come back and talk specifically how we can be of support. We're going to show the audience your website, how people can volunteer and learn about various programs. So we'll be right back after this quick message. Hey, Detroit. Are you a Detroit area small business owner, entrepreneur, leader of a nonprofit organization, or a business service provider? And are you looking for ways to share your product, service, or your programs with a local Detroit audience? Let us help you increase your reach by becoming an ad sponsor with the Detroit Metro Plug podcast powered by Empower You Ventures. Our weekly video podcast is a growing local feature on YouTube, Facebook, and LinkedIn that focuses on local business and community news. This gives you a chance to connect with local Detroit customers or clients. We offer cost-effective ads to fit your needs. Click the link to learn more about our current ad specials. And remember, connections matter. This is Charlie the Plug with the Detroit Metro Plug podcast.
Black Leaders Detroit, they knew that during the pandemic, that Black businesses were going to be left out of any type of funding that the government gave, and they wanted to make sure that they were able to figure out how they could step up and help, because again, this is their community, and they want to make sure that their community is still here when this pandemic is over with. And the only way you can do that is by offering support to your community, and so they stepped up and they did that.
I've been telling everyone I know about Black Leaders Detroit. The things that they're doing is simply amazing. And they're taking care of business for the Black business owners.
It's $1 a week donation to keep this great thing moving. $1 a week keeps it popping. Black Leaders Detroit.
All right, so we're back. If you're joining us, we've had a great guest here talking about the organization Life Remodeled, Diallo Smith, who is now officially the chief executive officer, president of this great organization. And so, and I just want to announce, I showed a little bit on Black Leaders Detroit. So I want to encourage people, I'm going to be participating in the Ride for Equity on May the 17th. I want to encourage people to go to their website, blackleadersdetroit.org, to sign up. It's a fundraiser for the organization. They provide resources to Black-led entrepreneurs and community leaders who lead nonprofits, no interest loans, other resources, and grants. So I want to encourage everyone to participate with that. So those who are joining us, we've talked about the backstory of our guests, just how he got involved with this great organization, Life Remodeled, their vision, and just how they go about their business and make an impact. Can you share some specific programs or even stories of some of the stuff that you guys done in the city, or some specific programs that can provide opportunities for those who are listening?
Yeah, we're blessed to have 35 organizations that we work with, ranging from workforce development opportunities with Detroit at Work to mentorship opportunities with the Big Brother Big Sister, to medical and pediatric opportunities like Metro EHS, which serves autistic children, helping them develop their speech therapies and socialization skills. And so all of that is right there at the Durfee Innovation Society. And then we'll be replicating that model at Anchor Detroit, which will be on the east side. So for us, what we really centrally focused on is how can we help more Detroiters pursue their future and become the persons that they've always envisioned being. And we know that sometimes having a partner with you along the way is important. So we want to encourage, listen, whether or not you no matter what leg of the journey that you're on, we invite everybody to come and check out the Durfee Innovation Society, which is at 2470 Collingwood. If you have a cousin or a friend who you know might be in need of particular services or resources, or just a map to get from point A to point B, bring them as well. And if you go to our website, which is liferemodeled.org, if you'd like to make a donation, awesome. But I also want to highlight two other major opportunities. One actually that just passed this weekend, Charlie, but we'll have it again next year. Prom Remodeled. That is our annual fundraiser. It's a who's who gala and benefit. And the who's who is not just people who are celebrities or business leaders or people of influence in a business perspective, but also community members, teachers, principals, business owners. Everybody just coming out, having a great time, dressed up like we're going back to prom again, and we have great talent. This last year we had DJ Cool, Let Me Clear My Throat. He came down. Years past, we had Montel Jordan, Rob Bass, Tone Loc, and the like. So keep your ears out for when next year will be in 2026, but we'd love for you to have you out for that. And then later on in September, Charlie, September the 29th through October the 4th, we have what's called the 6-Day Project. We believe that it's not only about what's happening in our opportunity hubs that's important. We also want to show some love around our opportunity hubs. And you know that many of our neighborhoods, because of depopulation, there's a lot of blight. There's a lot of opportunities to beautify that neighborhood. And so we do that across 6 days. We mobilize over 5,000 volunteers to just come out. They pick one day, they roll up their sleeves. The tools are all out laid there for them, and they just go to work helping different neighbors who might be seniors, who might be vets, or might be disabled with their lawn care. We clean up blighted lots. We board up abandoned houses. It is really something that I think is something that the whole city can get behind. And it doesn't take that much. It's just a little bit of sweat equity, 4 hours, and it makes. But at the end, it makes a huge impact to the community that we're in.
Wow, that's awesome. I shared my screen while you were highlighting the upcoming events and showing people the website, which is liferemodeled.org. And it shows what's going on at the Durfee Innovation Society. And I think there's a link to the upcoming Anchor. So what's go ahead.
By the end of this year.
Oh, okay. That's awesome. That's awesome. What's the best way we can be a support? What if someone wants to volunteer, make a donation? I know you said something briefly. They go to the website and
you can go to the website and all the information will be there. But you can also email us at info@liferemodeled.org. Just tell them what you're interested in, and somebody will definitely get in contact with you there. But then also, if you want to make a phone call, you can do that as well. And so I encourage people to do that if they can. Our number is 313-744-3052. And so you can always call us and find out how to get connected that way as well. We are in the city, for the city, and with the city.
Okay.
We want to hear from all of our great residents, those who live in the city and those who live in the suburbs, to know what your passion is and to see how we can get you plugged in to the great work that we're doing.
Right. I like that segue, plugged in, because we're the Detroit Metro
there you
podcast.
go.
I'm showing people ways they can support financially, those who are watching. Sure. There's a donate button. It takes you to a pop-up where you can give one time. There's various amounts, suggested amounts. You can do other, you can do monthly, yearly. What a way to support a great work, knowing that you're making an impact on lives in specific neighborhoods, as well as on your website. It tells you all the work that you're doing. And if somebody wants to volunteer, is there something on the website? Do they sign up to the email list or?
Well, one, the email list is a great place to start with that. But then also, if you there is a button on the website called the 6-Day Project up towards you just saw it right down there at the bottom.
The bottom?
Yep. Events at the DIS right there. Yeah.
Oh,
6-Day Project 2025.
Oh yeah, there it is. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. And you can sign up to be a volunteer there. But again, if you want to email us at info@liferemodeled.org or give us a call at the number that I just highlighted, either which way, somebody will get in contact with you right away and show you how to get plugged in.
Okay. All right. I want to show our audience the slide here. And
look at that guy.
So this is your direct email. They can do info@Life Remodel, or if they reach out to you, I'm sure you would direct them to the right person.
I would love to hear from you. Love to hear your stories. Love to hear what your passions are, and also just love to hear how you like to get connected.
Right.
I think relationships, strong relationships, Charlie, is how we're going to make it to the next level. It's truly. It truly is going to be one person connecting with one person, one household connecting with one household, but together collectively, when you add up all of those relationships, that's when the real growth of the city happens.
Yes. Awesome. And then I put up for the screen, there's the number for and the address for the Durfee Innovation Place Society. So definitely you want to go on the website. Encourage our listeners to support. If you can't make a financial donation, you can volunteer. There's various opportunities for that as well. Or you can participate in some of the services that they provide. And if you're an organization, if you're a nonprofit, I want to ask you directly.
Sure.
And if you want to be, you have some resources, you want to be a part of this opportunity hub, what's that process like?
Yeah, we have a great vice president of opportunity hubs who talks with future tenant partners all the time. We do have a waiting list. Oh
wow! I guess that's a good problem to have a waiting list.
Yeah, when we first undertook the project in 2017, people thought, man, nobody's gonna come in the middle of what people consider to be hood to do that type of thing, and nobody's gonna be there. But we are at 100% capacity.
Wow.
At the Durfee Innovation Society, and we're already pre-leased at 100% capacity.
Oh my goodness, that was my next question. I was like, can I get on the list for the anchor? You guys are already. Wow, that's a blessing.
But I would say, listen, you can email me directly, Diallo@liferemodeled.org, and I can get you in contact with the next person, because we do have which is something great that happens for us. Sometimes an organization grows to the point where they need to go to a larger facility, which is awesome. Right. That's exactly what we want to see happen, and then space availability opens up. So please, if you are a local nonprofit or social impact organization, we'd love to hear from you. Partnerships are how we make this revitalization work a positive thing for the city. So we'd love to hear from you.
Now, you said something interesting. It's not just nonprofit, but social impact organization. So you could be a for-profit organization that but has a social impact that can possibly participate.
Yeah, sometimes. For example, one of the asks of the neighborhood was that there be some type of Black entrepreneurship or local entrepreneurship that we foster. So we have at the Durfee Innovation Society, we have a great restaurant partner who not only do they provide a great service, and they're African American woman-led organization, and they're doing great things, but they're also have a direct focus on providing social impact through employment opportunities in that
neighborhood. Right. That's awesome.
Yeah.
Oh, that's awesome. Wow.
And I just want to preface this. That's a great question, Charlie. Look. Some people in the past have said, "Oh yeah, you're like the nonprofit WeWork," and I want to say, that's certainly a great compliment. WeWork is a great organization, but we want people, and we partner with people who are not doing just back office work. We want people who are going to roll up their sleeves and bring direct services and resources in the neighborhoods that we serve, because to me that is the most important part of impact. Not to say that back office and administrative work isn't helpful, but when we're able to find great partners who are willing to do the great work in serving our community members, that's when we see revitalization happen.
Yes, I agree with that. Amen. Wow, for you guys to reach that amount of capacity at that rate, there must be some great incentives for these organizations. Is this something that you provide? Is there like I don't know, I don't know if you rent your spaces to these organizations.
Yeah.
If there's market, it must be some type of incentive, or it's just the brand and the work that you guys do.
Yeah, I would say two things to that, Charlie. Yes. So because we're a nonprofit, we're not focused on marking up the price. So our lease rates are at cost, meaning that it is well below market value. So that makes us attractive, and that reduces a hurdle and a barrier in many ways for our nonprofit tenant partners. But the other thing, and I'll just be honest about this, we have a great team who establishes a great culture and a great vibe and a great service in the Opportunity Hub. So when you walk in there, by design, you feel like you're walking into a place where you feel like family, where your thriving is our highest priority, where you receive above and beyond hospitality. And so that creates a certain ambiance, and it creates a certain culture where people feel like they're not coming into a place where they're being looked down upon, but they're coming into a place where they feel like their future is attainable. And so I think that's a real value add for all of our partners in the building, because we share that same culture code. And so when you have 36 organizations all sharing that same culture code and treating people in that way, it creates a very attractive environment for all.
Wow, that's awesome. Wow. And I want to encourage our listeners, there's the contact information. Check out the website at liferemodeled.org. Get involved. Encourage people to donate your time as well as your resources. There's the phone numbers there, and just want to encourage people to take advantage of that. So as we wrap things up here, I just wanted to say our platform is about celebrating people, giving them their flowers, honoring their work and the positive contributions. And I just want to say thank you for you and the team at Life Remodel for the great work that you're doing and the great work you will continue to do, and the role you guys are playing in revitalizing our city.
Well, thank you. That means a lot. I know you converse and talk with a lot of other great difference makers in the city of Detroit. So I'm glad that Life Remodeled can be included in that fold. But also thank you for providing this platform for residents around the metro area to really hear about what's happening in the city and ways in which they can get involved. So the work you're doing is just as valuable, and I'm honored to be a part of am I an official Detroit Metro plugger?
Yes.
Okay, all right. Yeah. I'm a DM plugger now, so I appreciate that.
And I'm looking forward to. I'm pretty sure we'll cross paths.
Absolutely.
In the future at an event. I attend events at Durfee, and I'm looking forward for Anchor. Maybe I can do something with the new work out there. Any closing remarks you want to leave our audience as we close out?
I've said this throughout the interview, and I'll continue to say it, that I believe that the future of Detroit is bright. And I think the future of Detroit is going to be dependent upon the future of Detroit neighborhoods. And so I think collectively, if we're all focused on how can we make our neighborhoods a better place to live, you mentioned something earlier on, and I understand the sentiment. Sometimes we think about our neighborhoods, particularly in Detroit, as a place where you have to escape from. And we want to change that narrative. We want the narrative to be a place where it's not something that you escape from, but it's something that cultivated you to make you who you are in a very positive way. And so as we are focused on doing that in two neighborhoods, there's more than just two neighborhoods in the city of Detroit, but that's our contribution to making Detroit a better place from a neighborhood level perspective. But I celebrate any and everybody who's about making Detroit a better place, and I think it can be.
Well, wow, thank you. And you guys are doing great work, and congratulations on your new role and your continued ministry here in our city. Wish you the best, and thank you for making this a great episode. And I think this content and hearing the backstory is going to be great for our audience. And as they watch the replay, we're hoping that they will get involved with whether it's volunteering or even donating or telling others about the great programs and opportunities that's there.
Absolutely.
All right. So thanks. I really appreciate you.
Thank you, Charlie.
Well, that concludes our podcast for today. And again, if you're finding value in what we're doing, just want to encourage you, please like and subscribe. Let the social media streets know that positive, uplifting content is important. We got to let the algorithm know that this is important too. And so I want to encourage you to do that. And also I want to encourage you to definitely support our guests, especially today, and the work they're doing in our city. We're just praying that they will continue to remodel lives here in the city of Detroit. So that concludes our episode. See you next week. Not next week, but the week after. Got some other important guests coming up. We got a young man who's running for mayor of the city of Detroit. We'll hear about that. We're going to interview him and talk about what he's doing, and he wants to be the next mayor. So you'll hear about that. So with that, you guys have a good night. Hey, everyone. This is Charlie the Plug, your host of the Detroit Metro Plug podcast, powered by Empower You Ventures. Don't forget to subscribe so you too can be a part of the biggest empowerment network on YouTube and Facebook. We bring you weekly interviews of Detroit difference makers in the area of entrepreneurship, community involvement, also reaction to business news and community news. This does not happen without your support. Thank you.